removing charge-offs off your credit reports. In this video, I promise I'm going to share with you exactly how you can deal with charge-offs, get them removed from your credit reports. So get your pen and pencils, get your paper out, take notes. I'm going to show you how to remove charge-offs off of your credit reports. Why is it so important to remove charge-offs off your credit reports or to deal with charge-offs on your credit reports? Because that's the number one thing that is holding your credit scores down. That's the number one thing that is stopping you from being able to move forward in your life utilizing your credit. With companies, the reason why is because they're going to, when you don't pay them, they're going to charge it off your account. So the first thing that I want to clear up right now is I want to clear up these misconceptions. So many people think that once a debt is charged off, they don't owe the debt anymore. That's not true. Charge-off doesn't mean that the debt is going to disappear. Charge-off doesn't mean that they're going to go into some secret bank account and get the money from the government or the Federal Reserve. It simply is an accounting move for the creditors. The lenders write off the debt as a loss on their books, but the debt is still valid and they can pursue collections or sell it to a third party. So don't ignore it. It won't go away. So why do companies charge off accounts? It's simple. It's an accounting rule. Most creditors are required to charge off delinquent accounts after 180 days of non-payment. This helps them clean up their financial statement, report the loss for tax purposes. But remember, just because it's charged off doesn't mean you need to forget about it and that they're going to forget about it. So these are the potential things that could happen after your account is charged off. They can try to continue collecting the debt from you. They can sell the debt to a third-party debt collector. They can also hire a third-party debt collector to also try to collect on it. This is where many people get confused because a charge-off often leads to a new collection activity and possibly a double hit on your credit reports. One from the original creditor, one from the collection agency. So now let's talk about this from a standpoint of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the FCRA. These are the requirements. So now, under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it governs how charge-offs are reported on your credit file. Here's some key requirements. So now, regardless if you owe the debt or not, regardless if it was your account, I want to make this clear. The Fair Credit Reporting Act is about the way that information is reported on your credit reports. So number one, accuracy. A charge-off must be reported accurately. Correct balance, date, and account information. Time limit. If you don't do anything about a charge-off, if you don't do any of the stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, they can leave that charge off on your credit reports for 7 years. For 7 years. After 7 years, it must drop off. Now, I want to be clear because some people get this confused. They will look at the statute of limitations with the debt in their state and say it might be 3 years or 4 years. And then they look at their credit reports and they're like, I'm getting punished for a debt that they can't legally make me pay because it's past the legal statute of limitations to collect in their state. That has nothing to do with what's on your credit reports, but you can utilize that information, and I'm going to talk about that later, on using that statute of limitation information to get that information removed off your credit reports. But just to be clear, if you do nothing about it, they can leave that information on your credit reports for 7 years for credit reporting purposes. The next thing is verification. If you dispute a charge-off on your credit reports with the creditor or with the credit bureau, they must verify it regardless if the account is charged off. If they don't verify it, it must be removed. So now, how do we remove a charge-off? This is the part of the video that you've been waiting for. The first, I'm going to talk about it from two different angles. One with the original creditor, one with the debt collector. So now, the first thing that you need to do if you want to get a charge-off removed off your credit reports is get your credit reports and look at what they have placed on there with the information on the charge off. This is crucial. If you don't know how they've placed the information on there, you don't even know where to start. It's like you can't even get to the go button on the Monopoly board because you don't even know what to do or what they're saying about you. So now, once you get that information, this is what you have a right to do. And it's going to be very easy for you to honestly say this, because once an account charges off, I don't think I've ran across anyone, including myself, when I went through charge-offs, that can recall any of the balances that they've placed on there, because they'll throw up all these fees, they'll throw up all these interest. You're done with the account. You don't know what's going on. They're just stacking on all types of interest and fees month after month after month until that 180-day period hits, and then you're going to have this big, huge balance that you don't even recall. That plays in your favor. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to dispute the inaccuracies, the wrong balance, the dates, the ownership, all of that stuff. You want to craft a letter to dispute all of that information based on what I just told you. The wrong balances, the dates, ownership. You want to find out what they're doing with that account. Now, if they don't get you that information or submit that information back to the bureaus have to remove that information off of your credit reports. Now, what we do at the credit repair shop is we don't just submit that information or that investigation request to the bureaus, because and the process is you submit it to the bureaus. The bureau is supposed to submit it to the original creditor to say, this individual wants you to verify what you've put about this charge off. Also submit that information directly to the furnisher. Make them clarify how they got to that balance that they put on your credit reports. One of two things is going to happen, and both of them will benefit you. Number one, you want them, most of the time they will just remove it because they're like, we sold it. These balances, we can't even really justify these balances. And maybe even some of the dates that they have on there when they charged it off. And this is why it's very important for you to look at your credit reports, because it could be charged off at one date with another bureau and charged off at another date with another bureau. That's a reporting error. And you can use that to your favor, that this information is not accurate. So if you submit that information to the original creditor, they can either choose to remove it or they can update it. If they update it with a balance to zero in cases where they sold the debt and they put balance zero, but they would still leave it as a charge off, but they have to put balance zero because they've actually taken payment for that. So they could put paid for less because they took a payment from another company, but you got to make them understand that you know this. If you don't, they're just going to say that it's a charge off, and maybe they might put it at zero, or more than likely they'll put it at zero. But you can actually fight to have them put that paid for less, or you can have it zero. Zero balance isn't going to hurt you also on your credit reports, or they could just choose to remove it. Now, if you're dealing with, let's just say, collection agency bought the debt from the original creditor and they put information on your credit reports about the original creditor. Now you have two ways to fight this whole thing. Number one is you do your validation with the debt collection company about the balance, about everything that you see that could be challenged with the way that information is on your credit reports. And also, if you do what I tell you to do, when you get that first letter from a debt collector, you could have done away with this from the get-go. But if you procrastinated, it's on your credit reports. Next thing that you do is you submit directly to that debt collector all of the disputed information about the balance. How did they get to that balance? Bill of sale, conformity of the documents from the bill of sale. How did the interest rate, charges, everything. You want to make them prove how they believe that this account is accurate. And of course, they're going to try to default over to the original creditor. But all of this stuff will work hand in hand to get this information removed off your credit reports, and also potentially make it to where you don't have to pay any of the debt. Like it's just going to just go away. The real way of it going away forever. So if it's with the debt collector, you're going to do everything that I just told you to do. You're going to craft your letter, put that information together. You're going to submit it to the debt collector. Also, you're going to submit that information to the furnisher directly. Also, you're going to submit the information to the bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, to make sure that you're hitting it from both angles, directly with the furnisher, debt collector, and also with the bureaus, making them get them to submit an investigation on what you're disputing with that charge off. So now, I know I've said a lot, and I encourage you to rewind this video. Now, you might be saying, well, Steve, I need a letter. I need you to give me the information. I want you to do your homework. It's 2025. Do your homework. You can get this done yourself. You know, a lot of YouTube is the do-it-yourself platform. So I just share it with you exactly how you can do it. Do your homework, make your letter, craft it. There's going to be some back and forth. You're going to have to be persistent. These companies do their best to not listen to what you're saying. So it's going to take some work. Yes, there's gaps in between because they have 30 to 45 days to review and get the information back. They're not only dealing with you. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to have to get your mindset right about being persistent. It can take time to get it done because it's going to be some back and forth. Got to get to the right departments with either the collection agency, got to get to the right department with the original creditor, got to get to the right department and in the right hands with TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. It takes back and forth. But just think about it this way. If it took you 2 months, if it took you 3 months, if it took you 4 months, took you 5 months, took you a whole year to get that resolved, and you're allowed to be able to move forward in your life with your credit, to be able to get the things that you want in life, to increase your lifestyle. It doesn't matter how long it takes. What you need to think about is, I need to get to work to getting it done. So if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you don't have your credit reports and your scores, you need all of them. That's the fuel to keep that engine going, so you can know what's going on and you can get the updates. And also, so when you get your credit to where you want it to be, you don't want to have something put on there that you didn't even know about. Get the service. Go to the3scores.com. Links are below this video. If you have debt collectors coming after you early, grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations, debt validation, and cease and desist collection activities letter. Use the one that's appropriate for your specific situation. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.